Good evening, good evening. Hi everybody, I want to welcome you to our channel, the Citizen of Heaven Ministries, led by the General Citizen, Mwana Mrewa. Today we're going to discuss about the death and ancestors. So I'm going to read a verse from the Bible, Matthew 1, verse 1. The heading, the ancestor and the birth of Jesus.
The ancestors of Jesus. Luke 3, verse 23 to 38. Matthew 1, verse 1. Jesus Christ came from the family of King David and also from the family of Abraham. And this is a list of his ancestors. From Abraham to King David. His ancestors were Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, and his brother, Judah's son, were Perez and Zerez. And their mother was Teram and Hezron. From David to the time of exile in Babylon, the ancestors of Jesus were David, Solomon, his mother had been Uriah's wife. So there are many names and generations. There were 14 generations from Abraham to David. There were also 14 generations from David to the exile in Babylon, and 14 more generations to the birth of the Messiah. So this proves that all human beings have got ancestors. All of us, we have got ancestors, and our ancestors are very important. And you need to know your ancestors before you know anybody in this world. So we're going to be talking about the relationship between, when we talk of ancestors, we're talking of people who are no longer with us. They are the departed, the deceased. But we carry their genes in us. So it means they live in us. So I want to talk about what happened to them. They died, and then in death. So to us, our theme today is death. So we say death is not the end, but it's a transition from the physical world to the spiritual world, where the deceased become influential to the lives of the living. In the African context, our ancestral presence, they are recognized in different aspects. In community, there are rituals that are performed by families to honor them, respect them, to appease them, appeal for forgiveness, ask for blessings, depending on the belief system of the person involved. But in the African context, when we use the indigenous knowledge systems, ancestors are part of us, and they are very important to determine our failure, our success, our misery, our happiness. So we want to say the ancestors are honored and respected in a collective manner, and there are rituals that are done in communities collectively, at times in private sessions with family members. So we want to talk about, when we talk about this death, we analyze it. We say death is not finality, but it's a passage from the physical to the spiritual realm, where the ancestors have got more power to guide, protect, and sometimes discipline the living. That's why at times when people have misfortune, they say the ancestors were not happy. They were giving him something. In Shona, say Agaro and Sham. So we want to say these ancestors or death is something that strengthens the relationship between different generations, and is something that is communally centered, where people, when one dies, the community, they come together to mourn with you, which shows that there is a collective responsibility of neighbors and the wider community to be with you during that time or the difficult times the family will be facing. And there are rituals that are performed at funerals. There are storytelling. Now, most churches and other religious practices have modified this. They've taken over now. Some of them come with the reading of the Bible, telling the stories, preaching as a support system to the family to try to occupy the people that will be mourning, to ensure that they get full support from the community in terms of getting emotional support, financial support, and other practical support. For example, singing and dancing, that is done as a way of keeping and entertaining people. In Shona, in my culture, people, when someone dies, they pay money for, we call it in Shona, it's called chema. In other languages in South Africa, they call it cheledi amatsiliso. It's money that is paid to help the family, to assist during the process. Then in this process also, we look at what happens in other cultures. When someone dies, they practice cleansing ceremonies after the burial to ensure that the family is protected from further spiritual harm. In Shona, there are also rituals that are performed. Some they are performed during the burial or after. This is done to reinforce the presence of the deceased or the ancestor in our daily lives. So this shows us that death is very important. The ancestors are very important and need to be respected. So if you see someone telling you that your ancestors are demons, that person is undermining you, is threatening your respect and dignity, and so we need to have respect. If we check here, Jesus, his ancestors, they're the ones who gave him more power. They're the one who gave him wisdom, who gave him popularity, and all the things that he was doing was linked to his ancestral lineage, to show that we need to have respect as Africans. We don't need someone to come and preach to us, be it a pastor, be it a bishop, or whatever title they might use, to disrespect you, to tell you that your ancestors are demons, and yet you are converted to follow some people's ancestors. And this is the highest form of decolonization, which as a citizen of heaven, we are against any form of colonization of the mind, of the individual, of the families, in whatever space. So we want to decolonize the Christian space that is highly polarized, where people are scared to discuss some of the topics. They don't want to say anything. They are scared. They fear. They say, no, this one is beyond me. I can't talk about this. So that fear that has been used to keep people quiet, we want to talk about it in our next, and we're going to proceed in the next chapter, where we talk about this in our next episode. Want to make this short so that it will remain relevant. Thank you for now.